Oh, barely picking up anything.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another fun installment of the Cup Duet Reviews, brought to you by Cup of Hemlock Theatre. I am your now bald, formerly ginger, co-artistic producer, Mackenzie, and in case the sound did not pick that up, I just let out my dissonant internal scream as
Nice.
this piece set up for us. And joining me on this dissonant adventure, it is the
Yes.
wonderful associate artistic producer, the lady in pink, Ms. Jillian Robinson. Hello, Jill.
Hello, Mac. How are you doing?
You know, Jill, I'm just vibing right now. I am listening to the dissonant tones of the world all colliding around me, and I'm going,
Amen.
c'est la vie.
The vibrations are definitely high. This
Are.
Taurus moon in Scorpio season is intense.
It is. It is, Jill. It is. But so, Jill, what is in your cup today?
So I actually don't have a cup. I just have my water bottle.
Very good.
I'm severely dehydrated. So
From all the
we are
tears?
just chugging, yeah, all the tears from the show, all the tears from life. We're going to get into it, folks. This show came at me tonight at a time in my life where I really needed it. So I tend to be transparent and vulnerable in these episodes, but y'all are probably definitely going to come along my next chapter life journey with this one. So, yes,
See.
staying hydrated. Yeah, that's what's in my bottle cup today. What
Okay.
about you, Mac? What are you sipping
I
on?
am drinking, because I'm trying to calm my tones and energies for the night. I'm drinking a cup of Earl Grey tea with some honey from my The
Nice.
Cup Cup.
Yeah. Cheers.
Hmm. Cheers. So, Jill, what are we discussing today?
So we are discussing Dissonant Species. This
Mm-hmm.
is a Theatre Gargantua production that's happening
Mm-hmm.
right now at Factory Theatre.
Mm-hmm.
It is a wonderful piece that stars five amazing ensemble
Mm-hmm.
members. Theatre Gargantua, right, is a
Mm-hmm.
very physicalized theater company here in
Mm-hmm.
Toronto. So there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of experimentation. A lot of the plot point of this piece is actually through experiments. And some brilliant sound waves were hitting the ears, as you would assume with this piece. Yeah, I'm really excited to unpack.
Mm-hmm.
And amidst all of this, like I said, it definitely pressed on a life vein, relatability vein for me tonight. So we'll unpack we'll see where the rules take us to the emotions, take us to the
Mm-hmm.
dissonance. We'll see where it all combines together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what we are unpacking today.
Wonderful.
So I guess, Mac, like, should I give maybe a tiny synopsis sort of before we get into this?
Yeah,
Like I
yeah, for
said,
sure. Like, we'll say that this was written by Heather Marie Annis and Michael Gordon Spence, directed by Jacquie P.A. Thomas. And yeah, like, kind of what's this piece about, Jill?
so, okay, this piece is, I guess, in like a brass tacks storyline.
Mm-hmm.
It centers around three students and two professors
Yes.
that study sound at
Mm-hmm.
University of Toronto. The three students are taking a music like composition class
Mm-hmm.
that, particularly in the span of this piece, they are given assignments to explore dissonance. So
That
from
dastardly tritone.
yes, the tritone. So yeah, so it's through their exploration of this assignment, and then exploration of themselves through this, and then our professors, they're also dealing with their own individuality
Mm-hmm.
within the sound waves of life.
Mm-hmm.
So in and around that sort of, like, again, this isn't a piece that necessarily calls for beginning, middle, end. In my
It's very
opinion,
circular. We start where we end.
yes, it's circular, and also it's giving Carol Churchill vibes. There's a lot of, vignettes.
Brechtian.
Yeah, a lot of Brechtian elements here. Like I said, the use of movement and
Mm-hmm.
sound and technology lifts this piece for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of want to just like that. That's kind of where I want to leave the
Yeah,
synopsis.
it's hard to summarize without spoiling.
Mind you, like I will kind of, yeah. I mean, this isn't really a spoiler, but I
Mm-hmm.
think there's a larger orb or wave going on throughout this whole piece. Like I said, one of the sort of framing devices is going through different historical exploration of sound experiments on stage. But that sort of science is paired with the sort of emotionality of humanity. And so I think we're just seeing humans, rawly unpack themselves while trying to make sense of things.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I with that. Do you have any more to
Yeah.
add?
No, I mean, like, this is a devised theater piece. So it is not your traditional, as you said, beginning, middle, end. So you kind of just have to go along for the ride. I would say this piece definitely picks up steam toward the last 2/3 once you kind of get your footing in the piece and kind of figure out where we're going, what we're building on in this piece. I would say the first third, just be willing to sit in the dissonance of not quite knowing where you're going with the piece exactly and kind of what you're connecting with, and just kind of live the moment. And then once it kind of clicks for you, it flows.
Yeah.
I had that moment. That first third, I was struggling a bit trying to figure out where we're going, what we're doing with this, kind of why am I watching this. And then once that beautiful monologue about postpartum hit, that was one where, even though I've not experienced postpartum, I will say that monologue felt very human, very real. That whole sequence on the phone and just that cacophony of sound building, like, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful embodiment of what that experience is like from what I've been told. So, I would just say be willing to float in this piece. Don't go in ready to walk down a path, because the path is not going to reveal itself to you right away. You have to just live.
That's life.
That's right. That's right. So overall, do you want to do our general thoughts, Jill, before we dive into some spoiler zones?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, run to see this piece. Something like this doesn't really exist in Toronto right now. Again, I think...
Well, it's hard to market a piece like this, and trying to sell general audiences on a piece that you can't properly market kind of puts you on an awkward foot. But it's like, we need more chances like this.
Yeah, it's very, like, it reminds me, like we said, correct, but it reminds me just like German theater too. Like this piece isn't going to captivate your sort of bog standard Canadian audience, like off advertising, but it's going to puncture every human being sitting in the audience in some shape or form. And one thing you mentioned, Mac, which I do want to definitely give massive praise to, is the use of sound in this piece. It seems pretty simple, stupid. Like, of course, this piece is going to be centered and involving sound, but the brilliant scientific composition that this, like, there's different chunks of this piece that, in like a laboratory or like in the recording studio, they patch together all of these different, like we said, like dissonance, tritones, instruments to literally evoke emotion. Like, there were so many installments in this experience where I was weeping. Now, mind you, I mentioned earlier in their episode, there's a lot going on with Jill right now in next chapter things. I'll let the cat out of the bag. I just left my day job of kind of humdrum restaurant industry to devote myself fully to the art. I was kind of doing both and not able to do both. And this piece sort of welcoming me back in saying, everything is overwhelming. Everything's happening all at once. You don't know where your path is. You don't know what's going on. And obviously that is represented in all of these different sounds and a state of overwhelm, gesturing anxiety. Yeah. Like creating like anxiety in a sonar lens, like everything. Yeah. The way that they create, sorry, I went on a little tangent there, but the way that they created the sound standout pieces, like, I wasn't the only one wiping my eyes in the audience. There was like such a universal, I mean that in two ways: universal connection, universal meaning everyone was feeling some sort of shared weight, but also universal in like the usage of sound to be as close to universe's alignment as possible was present in this piece. Like, and then that supported through the stunning ensemble movement, which everyone here was proficient in moving their body individually and also collectively. And then obviously then augmented by the text and the little sort of relationship vignettes that sort of pepper around this,
Mhm.
like I said, this larger universe aligned, misaligned orb that was kind of, in my opinion, the takeaway of sort of like the thesis takeaway.
Mhm.
And just also just, like I feel like with a piece like this, like you said, Mac, like because it's devised, sometimes a heartbeat can get lost in the piece. Like you can kind of just be clicking along and there is different fragments and there's no cohesion, or like there is no like wave stringing things along. But I 1000% do think this piece has like it, and a lot of it was that there was a lot of repetitive collective gestures, and one of them is them
Mhm.
coming into that sort of triangular position and like offering out a scream or like a mimed voice to the audience. And I just love that they brought images like that back, because I think, yeah, it did a really good job of sort of giving weighted purpose to this kind of fragmented, like I said, Brechtian piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be talking about this piece in a circular. This is definitely an episode where, because the piece doesn't ask for like necessarily a beginning, middle, end, I think our thoughts are kind of going to be a little bit spirally all around the
Yeah.
map too. But what about you, Mac? Like, what are some standout things for you?
Well, I mean, as I said, this isn't an easy piece to jump in on. You kind of got to just be willing to go down the ride of the road. I thought, though, that this piece had a beautiful balance. Like, obviously, Heather and Michael, as the writers, put together some beautiful monologues of different moments, and we'll talk more about those monologues in our spoiler section. But I would just say in general, the balance of monologue and ensemble work was very well done. This was a very cohesive cast. I would say all of them were very in sync with each other. Like we have Heather Marie Annis, Nicholas Eddy, Mila Rogers, Michael Gordon Spence, and Hannah Sunley Paisley, who are all our ensemble. And I felt they all worked extremely well together. Each of them kind of had their own standout moment to shine, whether it was a monologue or an interaction. I thought that, yeah, once this piece really got flowing and once I clicked into it, I liked it a ton more. I felt the first third, when I was trying to get my feet into this piece, was a struggle sometimes, just kind of being like, okay, what is going on? Why am I watching these experiments? What is happening here? Like not quite clicking. And then once it did, it was like the light bulb goes off and it's like, got it. Okay, we're good. I'm excited. This is great. Love it. Really getting into it. Yeah. So, and also just as a music person who, studied a little bit of music theory in school and took piano lessons and singing lessons and played instruments in orchestra, like getting to hear all about music theory like this is kind of fun. As a nerd, there's a joy about hearing some of the history of some of the tritone and things like that. I thought that was great kind of exploration there, kind of gets you more interested in music for
Mm,
sure, and kind of the power that it has. There's a moment we'll talk about in the spoiler section that really was a power of song and music that
yeah.
was really beautiful. So we'll definitely get into that for sure. But yeah, like I would say overall, this piece is just absolutely a gem.
Mhm.
It definitely is a unique piece. It probably will not be for everybody. As much as if we want theater to be as welcoming and inclusive as possible, that is a thing. But I know some general audiences will have a struggle with this. But I do encourage general audiences to still come out and give it a try. The
Oh
arts
yeah.
is all about life and experimentation. You know, like it's not coming in a perfect can of Campbell's soup right away, mixed and ready to go. Art is about trying and working things, and this is a piece that's perfectly encapsulates that, where these people are dissonant with each other. By the end they find harmony, and I think if you
Mhm.
just give this piece a chance as general audiences, you will find it is a beautiful piece that really will speak to you, because there's a lot of human experiences in this piece that warrant being heard and connected with. It just may take a minute for you to really lock in.
Yeah, and I think kind of like just snowballing off of what you said too,
Yeah.
like this piece, it can just be an offering of like meditation on
Hmm.
humanity. right now too. Like I think it's doing a lovely
Mhm.
job of like it is theater obviously, but it kind of there was a moment there where I was a spectator, but then I was also like feeling like I was going through one of my audio meditations,
Mhm.
like it does a really good job of ebbing and flowing you into, yeah, you're sharing this experience with the theater goers
Mhm.
beside you, but you're also unpacking your own experience as if, you're listening to your daily podcast or you're doing your
Mhm.
meditation or, you're curating that playlist. Like, I think this piece does like a sort of secret job at reminding us the power
Mhm.
of art, which is the piece we're watching, but then also sound being an art form and how that can sort of be, yeah, transformative and important to kind of sit through and wade through, especially in the world we live in right now that is just
Yeah.
packed with, so much tyranny and hate and weight.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Should we jump into spoiler zone?
Yeah, I would say let's throw up our, broken violin on our
Yes.
screen. It is now up, and Jill, why don't we start with
Mhm.
what was your favorite monologue of this piece? Because this piece was kind of a blend of they'll do an ensemble moment and then they'll jump in and somebody will get a monologue to spotlight a moment or a
Yeah.
feeling that they're having. So, kind of what was a monologue that either stood out to you or is one that you really connected with? That
Mhm.
is there one you want to steal for your monologue book?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of good text in this piece. All of them made me weep because again, I think they were masterminds in choosing text and the underlaying of sound to support the
Mhm.
text to kind of evoke emotion. But I want to highlight Hannah Suddenly Paisley's monologue. So this is the character that is kind of, didn't want to do the group project with
Mhm.
Lee, who is the other character who kind of like shares different political views than her.
Mhm.
She's sort of like confused as why she's in this course. Used to do basketball and is now kind of
Mhm.
in this composition course. So kind of on this, yeah, figuring out journey, broken path, and she recollects memories of her nan is what she
Mhm.
like refers to. It's like the shared family member with her sister
Yes.
that's talked about previous in the piece, and
Yep.
how nan has like dementia, but the
Yep.
power of like song, would bring her sort of back online and
Yep.
yeah,
That's
would
somewhere over the rainbow moment. Oh God, it got me.
yeah, and just the connection that, that gave to that character when the power of song sort of like reanimated her, like in so many other words, like lost grandmother. Like,
Mhm.
so I think why this piece hit me so hard too is that, she was referring to this character as Nan, which
Mhm.
my maternal grandmother, I refer to as Nanny. I was also
Oh,
used
me
to share,
too.
yeah, I used to share in songs. We used to make up songs.
Mhm.
Like that was a very powerful part of our
Yep.
relationship. Also, shout out Hannah. We did a YPT audition together, and like right before we went in, I like helped Hannah with a self tape. So like Hannah, if you
Aw.
remember me, hi. So I also just think the fact that like she, as the actor, was the vessel for this connective monologue was again the universe aligning. So definitely that monologue
Mhm.
particularly, but I do also want to shout out, I want to call it like the colorful banjo monologue. So it's when
Yes.
Malia Rogers' character
Mhm.
is sort of plucking different notes in the banjo, and each note it
Mhm.
represents like a different color and image, which I've always connected as a musician myself. I've
Mhm.
always connected with music through color. That's just, yeah, I like see color when I sing sometimes. And so I could very much relate to what she was unpacking there. And
Mhm.
again, transparent, we're in on Jill's life. I've been doing sort of embodiment universe alignment sessions with good friend Kelly Shaw, we've talked about on
Mhm.
this podcast. And the butterfly has been an image for us, for her and I in our sessions.
Mhm.
And so the fact that Malia's colorful banjo monologue left
Mhm.
us on a sort of cluster of violet butterflies
Mhm.
absolutely took me down. I was like,
Mhm.
again, we are sitting in this theater
Mhm.
watching this piece, sitting with a friend
Mhm.
for a reason as I sort of butterfly myself out of a cocoon.
Mhm.
So again, folks, you're getting like the spoiler alert of the experience that you could also maybe, feel as well. Yeah, so those are kind of my two shout out solo moments. But what about you, Mac? Similarly, any other parts pop up?
I mean, the Nan monologue all about dementia and song, beautiful moment. The Somewhere Over the Rainbow harmonization there, gorgeous.
Hmm.
Other ones, like as I said, the postpartum
Hmm.
monologue
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
ripped your heart out because, and the whole thing about finding the fridge and just the overwhelming anxiety.
And might I say, like postpartum, yes. Also just like female hormones, like
Yes.
PMDD, PMS.
Hmm.
It's how it feels. And there is very much like all your senses are heightened. You are,
Hmm.
yeah, that was yeah,
Yes.
tipping the hat to doing due diligence there.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'd say the model that really hit me is the moment when the three students are in the studio trying to do work and they kind of in particular start sniping at each other, and then it's who is it? It's Amalia. Actually, she gets another
Yeah.
great monologue moment, and it's where they kind of turn their targets on her and go, well, "Why don't you have an opinion? Why don't you say something? Why don't you weigh in on these very divisive and hot button topics?" And her response, I think, is one of the most human responses. I think we've all felt what she talked about, which is, "I do have opinions, I do have thoughts, but in this hypercritical, hyper tense world where you say one wrong thing, you get canceled, or you're getting judged by being a poser for taking on a certain stance, like you know that feeling of insecurity. That even though yes, you do she has an opinion, she just goes, because they're arguing about one of the things they're arguing about the war, which I assume they're referencing the war in Gaza, is kind of what I got the vibe of what the war was they were talking about in that moment, and just
Hmm.
how she goes, yeah, I do have opinions on it, but because we may not all share the same level of opinion on certain areas, you know, she goes, I don't feel comfortable talking about it with people, but through my music, through my
Yeah.
art, I find a way of communicating
Yeah.
and feeling open enough to talk about it. And I thought, what a wonderful human monologue, because I
Hmm.
think there's many people in life right now who go, you know, who have very conflicted feelings about a lot of topics in the world and feel very uncomfortable, not with their opinion, but with the way that we as a society have boxed ourselves into the point where trying to have open dialogue on a lot of topics that are very gray and have many different viewpoints and facets depending on your life experience, your lived experience, what you've heard in the media, in a very broken media landscape, can really make you go, I don't know if I want to say my opinion unless it's somebody who I really feel comfortable with. Like my dad and I have political topics, conversations about stuff all the time, and we disagree heavily with each other. We still love each
Yeah.
other, but I know that I can go at him really hard and
Hmm.
really pound him, and he can really come back and pound like and beat his points right back at me, and I will not take it personal. I will not go, I'm not talking to you anymore. You're a horrible,
Yeah.
bigoted person. I just go, that's your opinion. And it's your life experience, and that's informed the way you think about this topic. And that's that. No, we
Hmm.
now like we may get passionate about these topics, but we don't excommunicate each other for them. And I think in this world where we're so protective because we're also feeling also insecure and vulnerable,
Yeah.
we get very nervous about sharing. And I think her monologue about that is really powerful. And I think it's one that needs to be I would love a recording of that monologue, and they should put that out as marketing, because I feel a lot of people would connect with that monologue and go,
Hmm.
yeah, because I'm sure, Jill, you and I could find a topic, I don't whether it be Gaza or something else in the world right now, where you will go, I have this view, and I go, I have a similar view, but I feel a little bit more this way than that way on this particular point. And you may go, oh my God, Mac, you're so
Yeah.
wrong. But
Right.
there's a level of trust, and it's that thing of, we all hate group projects. I don't think anybody really likes a group project in school, unless it's like, once again, it's in your program, it's in your secure bubble, and you go, oh yeah, no, I feel very comfortable with these people in the rehearsal room. But clearly, these three were not put together cohesively, so it
Yeah.
makes for a very fraught conversational environment.
Yeah.
And most of the time, we all fall where Mila's character falls, versus the polar sides that we see.
Malia. Are you
Hannah,
saying Malia? Malia's
Molly,
character?
sorry,
Yeah. Yeah.
Malia's character, I think, is where we all fall, really. Because there's the Hannahs and Nicholas characters of the world who are very opinionated, very strong in their viewpoints, blinders on, like full steam ahead. That's where they stand. Come hell or high water. But I think there's more of us in the world who fall in that middle ground of we're a mixed bag. And so I think
Yeah.
that monologue really hit me because I went, yeah, that's how I feel a lot of the time, where it can be really hard to voice an opinion when you don't always feel comfortable in your environment to do that type of thing.
Mhm.
So I thought Malia's monologue there was a really beautiful, well orchestrated piece.
Yeah.
Um,
Fair.
yeah.
And I think again, just like piggybacking off of that too, is this piece is such a lovely, horrific dance of living as a human being where
Mm-hmm.
you are constantly fighting for yourself but fighting for others. You're fighting
Mm-hmm.
against yourself and fighting against others. Like I feel
Yeah.
like there's this quad of tension that's
Mm-hmm.
always a vibration in all of us.
Yes.
And again,
Yes.
I think in the having these sort of standout monologue moments and then strewn and peppered with these, collective little scenes, but then
Mm-hmm.
all encased and cradled with
Mm-hmm.
seeing the struggle, like
Yeah.
having the whole ensemble embody what anxiety
Yeah.
tics look like, embody what
Mm-hmm.
postpartum looks like or feels like, embody what getting
Yeah.
bumped feels like and
I was
looks
about to
like.
say
Like,
Michael Gordon Spence's dream monologue of his
yeah,
internal anxieties of being an older white man. I was like, that's my dad. My dad has told me he has felt similar vibes to that of where he goes, I've
mhm,
done nothing wrong, and as far as he knows,
yeah,
he's a kind, hardworking guy, but yet, there are people in the world who go, oh, because he's worked hard and bought a house and has to have two successful companies, they assume, certain things about him and his lifestyle. And he's like, no, like, and he's like, I shouldn't feel
yeah,
bad for, for this. So I thought Michael Gordon Spence's moments and monologue about the bump and feeling angry at the world, I was like, yep, I see my dad in that. I
yeah,
see a lot of tones and colors of our parents in
yeah.
in that
And
character.
yeah, and just like the explosion of emotion, like whether it
Yes.
is that anxiety, whether it is that frustration, but then I keep using the word cradled. I'm going to keep going there,
Hmm.
but like cradled with like a breath.
Yeah.
And I think again, this is where it just brings us back to like the crux of being a human or the sort of core is you are going to be in states of overwhelm, in states
Hmm.
of, uncertainty, in states of passion, in states of love, and states and all of these like again on the chalkboard, these states of emotions bound by
Hmm.
rules and peppered with dissonance. Again, it's sort of like this triangle.
Hmm.
But then there's times where you just have to look out into the abyss and take a couple deep breaths.
Yeah.
And it's it made me almost chuckle seeing that sort of safety pattern in this piece because it's
Hmm.
something we all taught, at least in like Western culture, of
Hmm.
it from being a little kid of take
Yeah.
a breath, like you're talking to, like just take a breath or like take a minute.
Hmm.
And it's like this self-regulatory tool belt that everyone's given at a young age. But when you see it like in this highly theatricalized lens, you don't really realize like how much just staring out into the abyss and taking two deep breaths, that's magic. Like that's
Yeah.
actually magic.
Yeah.
Because again, what this piece does is it utilizes that sort of takeout moment, the takeout
Hmm.
moments for us where to allow the
Hmm.
audience to sort of digest and go to the next chapter.
Hmm.
It's just like characters looking out and taking a couple breaths. And I was ready for the next chunk
Yeah.
after being hit with, like we already talked about, these moments where everything was happening all at once and it just evoked emotion. So something so simple as like the only thing we have is our breath to
Yeah.
regulate, you know? Cool.
Yeah.
Again,
Exactly. And I will say
talking
something
full circle.
right? And I will say somebody we should really shout out because we've spoken about his work quite a bit in this piece, and that is our wonderful sound designer and music director, Richard Lamb.
Yeah, Richard.
'Cause Richard is lovely. I got to see him do several Talk is Free shows,
Hmm.
and he's wonderful. And this,
I will also
Yeah.
just alongside Richard Lamb,
Mhm.
Christopher Elizabeth, and then they do shout out the additional original compositions of the ensemble proper. So
Yes.
just to pepper those folks in too. But yeah,
Yes.
back to you.
Yes. Yeah, but yeah, I mean,
Oh, and Heidi Chan. Sorry, Heidi says it too.
yes.
Sorry. Back to
Yes.
you.
No, no, yeah, good catches, good catches. But like this piece is, as you said, it was so sound dependent. And
Mhm.
so I can't imagine what it was like trying to get all that sound pulled together and make it dissonant but cohesive.
Yeah.
Like it's just a lot. Like it's a
Well, and
lot of layers and work.
I love that we did just take the time to mention every single facet of that team of sound
Yes.
composers and
Yeah.
designers, because this piece honestly would suffer if it just came from one human.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's giving shared experience. Like there
Yes.
has to have been multiple engineers on this
Hmm.
sucker in order
Hmm.
for it to literally, like, dramaturgically make
Yeah.
sense, because you're not representing just one human.
Yeah.
You're trying to represent the race.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I will say Michael Gordon Spence's little sound wave xylophone in the back and in that set
Yes.
design, so cool to watch. It
Yeah.
was like, well, it was like waiting for the show's turn, just watching it twist and turn
Mhm.
was so
Yeah.
mesmerizing. It was
And
hypnotizing.
again, it was obviously like your standard sound wave is
Yeah.
sort of what you're given at the front, but then
Hmm.
as the piece went on too, and it is a constant fixture, even though
Yeah.
we're kind of directed our attention throughout the play space,
Hmm.
it looks like a ladder, right? The whole
Yeah.
thing maybe of like climbing the ladder of life, of,
Mhm.
the twists and turns. It also looks like a helix, like a strand of DNA, right?
Yeah.
Representing like the
Mr.
course of the human
DNA.
race. So yeah, I feel like this is definitely like an essay oriented piece. I think you could definitely sit with this sucker and unpack nooks and crannies.
Hmm.
And also want to shout out, from a practical lens, Jacquie Chow is the costume designer.
Yep.
I just was so captivated by the color palette. Again, we had that monologue, which sort of paired sound with color. And I think when you have a piece like this that is touching on like humans and universe, like you have to bring in sound,
Hmm.
emotion, color. Like, again, all of these sort of fundamentals we were all taught as a toddler or as a tot.
Hmm.
You learn about shapes, you learn about color, you learn about music. It's sort of all the fundamentals of what makes us us.
Yeah.
And I just loved the color palette here. And and again, I'm wearing pink. There was just like behind Mac, if you're watching this on YouTube, like Malia had like
Hmm.
her character donned bright pink. So in the running
Yes.
shoes and in her shirt. Hannah's character had orange running shoes, orange. So there was
Hmm.
just like these pop up of colors that didn't necessarily have like a rhyme or reason. I just think, like, again, it just lifted the piece in a sort of everyday streetwear, but
Hmm.
augmented way, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I
Um.
mean, like, yeah. I mean, this piece, and I love the fact that Michael's character also has the pink tie. So
Yeah.
like all the characters kind of have color pieces that tie into each other. So once
Hmm.
again, they're not all the same, but they're dissonant, like close enough to each other that
Yes.
they connect, but not fully.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
So great. Honestly, I think we could
Mhm.
probably leave it at there,
I
Mac.
think so. I think
We've
so. I
done a
think
really
we've
good
yeah.
swath. And I think, like I said, we're in spoiler territory, but this piece
Hmm.
is like meditative enough
Yeah.
and personalized enough,
Hmm.
or sort of, again, like I said, universal enough that you're going to
Yeah.
take away a personal experience from this, whether it
Hmm.
is, super subtle, or like you said, Mac, like you brought up some things about your dad. It
Yeah.
obviously brought up some things about what I'm going through right now.
Hmm.
It brought up things about my grandma. So it's
Hmm.
definitely one of those pieces that is going to hit you, and then encourage you to sort of utilize the watching experience to unpack your own self, your own human.
Yeah. Yes. Once again, this is Dissonant Species, done by Theatre Gargantua at the Factory Theatre on Bathurst, and it's running now, November 7th, all the way through to November 23rd. And every Sunday at 2 p.m., there is a pay what you can
Nice. Yeah.
performance. So definitely something to check out. This was just once again a terrific piece. Laird, be willing to go in, be in the moment. It probably
Yeah.
will not click with you right away, but stick with it, because by the end you'll come out changed and impacted in your own personal way. So yeah.
100%. Whew.
Woohoo!
Again, this was such a lovely playground to jump back
Yes.
into after I made a very large decision myself.
Yeah.
You know, I've been on the cup. I haven't been gone, but just a
Yes.
lot of my time and energy had been sort of too focused on my day job. And I made a pact to myself, if I can put all of that emotional, vibration into that, then if I pivot and put that back into the arts full throttle, I'm super excited to see what next stepping stone of my life journey will look like. What
That
my
indeed,
frequency
Jill.
will look like.
Yes.
So on that note, shall we grab our cups one last
Mhm.
time, Mac? Or I
I
guess before
agree.
we do a final cheers, let's plug ourselves a little bit and
Yes.
plug where folks can watch and listen. So
Right.
I'll start with that. So you are watching or listening Cup of Hemlock Theatre. You can find us on
Yes.
all social domains, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. We are doing different veins of the cup, and we are quite busy right through to the holiday season. So like, share, subscribe, pop in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts there.
Yep.
COH Theater is our handle there. That covers the company. Mac, where can when folks find and follow you?
You can follow me at Mackenzie on all social media platforms. For all my musical antics, you can follow me at Before the Downbeat, a musical podcast where both Jill and Ryan have appeared on episodes. So check that on out. Jill, I remember you and I doing a live commentary track to Little Shop of Horrors. That was an absolute hoot to do. So check that on out, everybody.
Yeah.
Jill, where can we follow you?
Yes, people can find and follow me at Jillian.Robinson96, my artist Instagram account. Definitely keep your eyes there because, like I said, I feel like a butterfly coming back into the artistic field. So, might post some covers of stuff, might have some upcoming opportunities. I'm just excited where, the journey is next for me there.
Love that. Love that. Wonderful. Well, on that fun note, everybody, stay healthy, stay safe, and we will see you all in the next episode. Cheers.
Bye, folks. Have a good one.